Okay. Then I come to Tumblr. I said okay, and now I come to Tumblr. Link. Insert. Alright, post now. There we go. Alright. I have everything I need. Except, I need to open my phone. Let's see. Hello, you two. Throws hearts at myself. Throws hearts at myself. Wait, there it goes. I did it! Yay. Okay. I pressed it and then it was like, hey, you actually, have to do more than just press a button. Pressing the button only tells you what your options to throw are, actually. Let's see. There you are. Alright, I need to plug my phone in and then I should be good to go because my phone is just low on battery and that's what I use to see the chat while I'm working, so... Plug in, stick the bottom part of my phone, the little thing that covers the charging port. It's broken off, so I keep it inside my laptop desk, so then I can just grab it whenever I want. Let's see. Alright. So I went into Tumblr mobile areas many a times. Why do I have a message? I just started. Ah, okay, it's just the drops for people giving out free Scarlet Hollow copies because of the sale. Every 10 copies they sell, they put out a free one. That's fair. I don't know how long I'll end up streaming for. It's possible that when Bree is off work and not just sneakily being in stream, I might switch I might switch gears and go for something more like a game stream of some sort. Maybe we could play something together or something. But we'll figure it out. I don't know if I want to do Among Us again. I thought it was fun, but also, oh my god, everyone was talking and so much was happening.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It was fine, except then everyone was talking at once or people were singing or stuff. And that's not inherently bad itself, but it's like for a stream it's a very chaotic. Like I couldn't imagine listening to a group doing that where everyone's talking at once. I just get lost or overwhelmed and then kind of back out, you know, personally. So, while I don't think everyone's like that, you know. It definitely made sense to do it like how streamers did, where like instead of having mic on during the process, they only had mic on when they were doing the discussion part. That made sense because of that, and I feel like it can be fine with the right people, but when you have too much going on, it's like, you know. Oh no, I wasn't saying it would be Among Us. I was just saying Among Us is definitely hard to stream. Because it's very loud. Oh, like it's just there's so much going on. Like I think it could have been fine, but I was definitely just like, there's just so too much happening. Like there was, you know, like I think a few people were singing during it, and I was just thinking about how Bree was streaming and just like, you know, copyright strikes that could happen and all that stuff. Like I feel like if stop toll free call. I feel like if I was going to do an Among Us stream, we definitely like have to lay some ground rules with people that were in the stream. Like, hey, you can't sing, especially not copyright songs. You know, just in case that gets us in trouble. Yeah, you could hum sometimes. You know. That is fair. I honestly like when we're all talking to each other consistently, you know, like I like that. It's just for a stream, I feel like it might be too chaotic. And for a stream also it's like what are the words? Alright, so this is character for Nana Sheep. I'm going to put an at on there. So just so I don't forget. Alright. There you go. Yeah, like, I mean, I like when we can hear each other throughout the thing. I like having shenanigans. I like seeing somebody and being like, huh, 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 or, you know, joking around, or being like, oh, you scared me. You know, like being able to communicate with each other during the rounds. I actually really like that. I just think that for streams, it might not work the best. If only because if everyone's talking at once, it would be so hard to focus on anything that was happening. And it's can be very disruptive. Especially if you're playing like you're being a streamer who has to like entertain, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see. Trying to figure out. So this person has an OC that is a cat, named, what was the name? Brekkie. Full name Breakfast. And I think that Brekkie is super cute, so I wanted to draw Brekkie. They're actually the person who did the Lewis and Arthur art I reblogged this morning. Like they right underneath their art, what, or like right underneath that art was like a thing about their OC, which had like, so like their thing that has like almost 100 notes now, or it might even be past 100 notes now, but their Brekkie has 8 notes, and one of them is me. So I was like, I want to draw Brekkie. Potentially. Like, they don't have anything, they're like, don't draw my characters or anything. They just don't have, like, do not use or steal, you know? So I'm like, if it's not stealing if I'm using it as a reference to draw your character. And I'm going to give you this drawing and be like, hey, I saw Brekkie. Brekkie looks super cute. Here. Because I went through to each blog that I had picked an OC from, and I checked to make sure it wouldn't be a problem, basically. Because I was like, I don't want to accidentally cause issues, basically. Okay. I'm setting up still, so all's good. But yeah, so I want to draw Brekkie. I'd like to draw Brekkie. Brekkie's super cute. You'll see Brekkie and be like, dang, I understand. I don't know. Okay, he. So they use he for him, so Brekkie is super cute. Just like, it looks like a little not Among Us, Animal Crossing cat. But in like some of the art, and then some of it looks slightly different. But like, each version of Brekkie looks different, so I'm not sure which one to like commit to, you know? Let's see, but I'd like to draw Brekkie. I found a little angel I'd like to draw. I found a little worm I'd like to draw. And I have this lady for right now. Like I plan on doing more of these in the future, but I didn't want to have too much stuff going on. Did you just do that? Oh my god. I'm going to throw you across the sea. Okay. That's something I still need to frickin' post as a thing. I need to put my rules for that stuff up. This is a worm named Alfonso Wiggy Wongo, which I thought was so cute. The name did not. Alright, so that's one. And then necromancy and tax evasion. Ah! Come on. My table is being so rude to me. Pulls that out slightly. There you go. Alright. Alright. So, got little angel guy, little worm guy, lady from the late D&D OC for that one person. And then I have Brekkie, but I have to decide which version of Brekkie to do, because there's like 4 different ones. And then I have one more, but it's just a guy. So I'm probably just gonna delete that one out and not do it. Because I already have quite a few. Most of them aren't super complicated. But if you spend $30, that means I have to spend an hour on your stuff, so... Giving me that look. Okay, let's see. Expand. What the heck? Each, I thought you spent all your money this month. I'm gonna throw you. I mean, it's only $6, but also, boy, I thought you had a quota you couldn't go past. I thought you spent all your fun money on a video game this last week. Get out of here. Not you. Not anyone in call. There was an ant on my phone. I destroyed it. He's being so rude being in my house. It rained so much, so now we have, like, more than there should be in any spaces. Okay. A lot of the breckies I'm seeing are very circle with square ear or triangle ears, but no but no hair, so I'm gonna just go with that. So we got breckie 1, and we'll grab second breckie, just so I have kind of a variety. And so what blog was this? What was her name? KV Texie. KV Texie? Was that it? Did I spell that right? KV Texie. Yes. Okay. Yes, I did it. Alright. And then, okay. Since I got all of these down, okay. Are you just... Who is throwing hearts at me right now? Is it you? Okay, it's probably each then. Okay. Okay. Close those down, close those down. Alright, so I got the 4. That I'm gonna do. And then I'm going to take one extra moment to grab my stream. Where are you at? There you are. Exit. No, you're fine. I was just like, who's doing that? Because it kept popping up on the corner of my on my phone. All right. Twitter post link to here. Ugh. another one. Alright. 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 Focus time. Alright. But first... I don't have an email. Oh, right, because you two were little shits. Someone loves what you do. Alright. There we go. Let's see. I'm gonna start with my favorite brush. And we're gonna start with, I guess, commissions, because those are kind of precedents. Alright, so we're gonna Phantom 10, so we're gonna make 2 layers. One's gonna be called Bree 30 and Age 6. And I need to do one more for Phantom, because Phantom paid 10 last time. So, Phantom 10. Alright. Phantom's not here, so I get to decide what Phantom's is. But you better be thinking about what yours is, because you have 20 minutes until it's your turn. Because I go in order of payments. So let's see. Probably not anything that can get me banned from streaming. If you want that, you have to wait until after the stream, and I'll do it off camera. Let's see. But also, if you don't pay a lot, it's probably gonna be bad. Because, you know, 12 minutes you ain't gonna get much in 12 minutes. Let's see, Phantom's Lair. Let's see. What do we got? Phantom's Lair. Who do we have? Come on, Phantom, you have tags, right? Let's see if there's /tag. See, maybe. Okay, well, under Phantom's OC tag is one singular character from a from a roleplay I remember them doing where it was Lewis's biological father, and then all the rest of them are all mine. They just tagged with OC. Shoot, I know Phantom has a few. I've seen them. I know I have, but I don't remember. Honey? Maybe if I tag. Nope. Okay. Honey Badger? Nope. Okay. What does Phantom call their art? Art? Phantom has to have a tag for their art stuff. Me spending the majority of the stream with it just sitting stationary as I try to figure out where someone's heckin' thing is. Someone, what I need is someone to ask me about something I can talk about extensively, because like I can talk for hours about stuff. And if that's what I need to do to keep the chat alive, it's what I'll do. I'll ramble. Let's see. Heckin', where be thee? Alright, we have Tristan rambling. I know they've shared art, so let's see. No, don't type in the art channel. From Phantom Lair? How do they spell their name? Crikey. Stellar Phantom. Oh my gosh. From Stellar Phantom. Oh my goodness. It's being such a jerk about this today. No, let me see their name. It's being so. Search on. It's being so rude about searches on Discord now, because it's like the from thing is broken because they changed everything now. Like, you know, they we're like, okay, now everyone has a different okay, here's the fox. Thank goodness it wasn't that far up, because I would have cried. Open image, copy image. We're gonna draw Phantom of Fox. It's so small, oh my god. But my canvas is so large. Quit that. Alright, hang on, and I'll get back to discussions. I'm afraid of what is being discussed. I see messages popping up, but I'm trying to find Phantom's Fox, but I found it now, so I'm closing a bunch of tabs of fruitless searching. Let's see. I have the tiniest fox in the corner. Alright, what do we got here? What are you saying? Alright. OCs, games, plans for the future. The plans for the future is try not to die at this point. So that sounds terrible, but also that's pretty much all I got on the docket besides get a new job and survive. OCs, any new ones? I think Caleb's the last new one, which I've already talked about extensively. And that was met with mostly silence. So I think I've said all I need to say about him. Blah blah blah. Horror. Okay. FNAF. God, yeah, I barely. It's actually. FNAF is really weird for me because I watched like the first one, and then like I watched Markiplier play the first one, and then like maybe one or two more. I don't even remember which ones I actually watched him play. So I basically have like the barest leanings of Five Nights at Freddy's. As far as I know, there are children ghosts inside the animatronics, and that's about it. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. And there's a guy named Springtrap, and he's real mean. Alright. 20 minutes. I'm gonna give it 21. No. 22. And and hopefully that'll give me enough time to get a little sketch out first, like a base. Isn't Mr. Hippo the magnet in Security Breach? Isn't Pigpen a character from Charlie Brown? You know, you guys are so mean to me just because I didn't I was an adult when Five Nights at Freddy's came out. I was an adult person. I was a full-grown being. I wasn't all like, I'm a child and I'm hyper-fixated on Five Nights at Freddy's, I'm gonna make a purple guy. I wasn't like that. I was like, wow, this is neat anyways, and moved on. I know what Springtrap is. That's about as good as you get with me. Alright. How to draw this guy? See, but the thing is, I'm not saying it's a bad thing you grew up with it. I'm just saying that, like, I don't know these things. That looks more like a devil horn. It's difficult to figure out. Yes, thank you, Eej. That's so helpful. But yeah, I need to, Bree said something about horror. That's something I can respond to. So, what was it? What do I think horror is? Honestly, I feel like a lot of games say they're horror, but aren't really for me. Because I'm very picky about what I would consider horror. Like, I feel like there's a lot of hybrid games for horror, where it's not all, it's not all... What's wrong? I'm listening to you trying to keep up with the chat. Oh, that's fine. So... it's a weird thing where I'm very picky about horror because I feel like there's so much overlap, but the problem is that most games that consider themselves horror are actually more in a different vein than horror because they fail to understand what makes horror to some degree. Like, that's a very confusing way of saying it, but basically, like, you have those games, like, The Last of Us. I really like The Last of Us, but The Last of Us isn't really scary. The Last of Us is more like an adventure game, but the world is... but there's zombies, you know? And the same, like, with Resident Evil. I don't see Resident Evil as particularly a horror game. It's, like, more of an action game, but there's horror elements to it. Like that's kind of what I mean, is, like, it says it's a horror game, but it's more like a hybrid between two types of game, and horror is like a very specific feeling of almost like powerlessness that so many games fail to get because they're like, oh, well, you can fight back, here you have a gun, you can defeat the enemies and stuff. And I feel like if you have to survive... I'm gonna have to restart the timer for Phantom. Like, the thing is, if you can survive and you, like, they give you a gun and then you can just, like, fight the creatures or whatever, and you can defeat them, then I don't feel like it really is a horror game exactly, because I feel like you have too much agency and too much ability to get out of the situation. Like, it's a difficult situation for sure, but it comes across more like an adventure game than a horror game, because you're not really feeling scared or nervous during that time. You don't feel like you are in danger exactly because you're helpless. You're just going around fighting everything, and then sometimes something surprises you, and that's not really, for me, that's not quite horror for me. For me, horror is when you genuinely are afraid of what could happen next, like that anticipation. And sometimes jump scares. Jump scares definitely can fit in there, but I feel like it's genuinely that fear of what's to come that is horror for me. Like that dawning sense of anticipation and nervousness and stuff that a game can evoke. So a lot of games I feel like want to be horror, and I feel like some of them are pretty decent, but they only really have the themes of something that could be horror. They're not really it themselves, because they have, the characters have too much control in the situation. Like like I said, Resident Evil. I've watched Splat play Resident Evil 4 like 6 times now, and he and like he's going through, and like, yeah, the creatures look freaky, but they're cool to me. I like their designs, but like they're not really, I mean, they're dangerous in that they can kill you, but it's not really scary, It's just like an enemy in a video game, Or like The Last of Us was a similar way. Like, I remembered it being scarier than it was. Like, there was like maybe once or twice where it really felt like, oh, things are gonna be like scary here. But then it really wasn't all that when I played through it again. So I feel like there are a lot of horror games out there. Like, I really like Visage as a horror game, because I feel like there was definitely a level of dread I had playing it, to the point where the first time I played it, I quit within like 10 minutes of playing it, going, we don't have to play this game, because it evoked such a sense of apprehension in me, which was really good, because when I pushed myself to actually sit down and play it, I actually had a really good time with it. It was just really scary too, but that's because it was a horror game that really leaned into that helplessness. Like, you were in your own home. There was no safe space. You were in your own home, and at any point the ghost could just start chasing you, and the only way to be truly safe was to pause the game and have it be a true pause where it froze everything in the game. Like, even just looking in your inventory wasn't enough. You had to like, there was no safe spaces that you could feel like it was. And then, like, if you were in the darkness, you started losing sanity, and that was such a scary thing. Is like, you were basically helpless, and you couldn't do anything about the ghost except learn their story and try to get through it before they killed you. All right. I'm gonna finish the sketch, and then I'll reset the timer. But I think that's a big thing with horror, is like, it needs to be something where you genuinely feel afraid to some degree. And I feel like there's some games that do that really well, and there are some games that are called horror games that I feel like just don't quite hit the mark. And I think it's really interesting trying to, like, watching the different kinds of games and trying to discern what they are. But like, there's definitely a lot of games that like feel like they're like horror hybrids. That's what I would call them. Is like, it's a mix of different kinds of game styles. Like, I would definitely say Resident Evil and The Last of Us were more of an adventure game, but with horror elements. There's been a few games I've watched where there is a sense of. Sorry, I took a drink. I don't know why I did that in the middle of the sentence. But I suddenly was so thirsty that I could not wait. Oh yeah, I didn't eat. I'll eat soon. Yeah. But it evokes this like a certain feeling. And like some games I think could still be considered horror, but there's just a lot of games that are in the horror genre that are more something else, I guess, I would argue. Each, if you're about to tell me that I need to eat, I'm going to stop you right there to ask if you ate first. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with this animal. It's just a fox, but my brain is like not working with it. I'm too used to drawing people. I'm not. You eat and then you can complain about me not eating. You can complain about me not eating because you did eat, and I'm very proud of you. But, I'm not sure what exactly I would do for a game. I think I would definitely lean into that helplessness, though. Like, I feel like you could have some really scary elements, but one of the big elements for me needs to be that the character needs to some degree not be able to control the situation they're in, because I feel like true horror comes from the fact that you are helpless, you can't get out of the situation easily, and it can't just be something where you can shoot it until you get out, you know? Like, I'm sure a gun could be helpful, but it needs to, like, sometimes not be possible to stop whatever you're dealing with, so that it feels, like, really, like, scary, I guess. I feel like the atmosphere is a huge part of the horror game. Like, it needs to feel like something bad could happen. Like, like some horror games try to do something, and they end up more kind of silly, and that's fine. The silly horror is also fine. It's just like if you're going for like a more a horror game that feels like horror, I definitely feel like you need to have some degree of people need to be nervous in the game, I guess. Like it needs to make you feel worried about what could come next, like apprehensive, I guess. Like, I don't want it to like trigger anyone or anything. I don't think you need to go that far, but like there's just something that needs to kind of be that's why it's so hard to put to words what exactly it needs, like what exactly you can do. Because it's like I want to be able to say, oh, it's easy, just do X, but it's not easy, because like you could do X and you could do X in just the right way that it doesn't come across with the right vibes for me. Because like I said, this isn't a tried and true thing for horror games. This is just me being incredibly picky about what a horror game is for me. Like, I don't get scared easily at certain types of games. Like, I don't get scared at games like Resident Evil or I don't get scared at like Resident Evil uh or like The Last of Us. I don't get scared at like I think a good one is Phasmophobia. Like it's kind of repetitive, so I don't stick with it long when I play it. But I really like the atmosphere they managed to evoke. Like you are nervous about going into the house. I can't tell you how many times I've played that game and then something's happened, like the ghost has shown up once, and everyone just freaking runs for the truck. Like they're like, I'm gonna be in the truck and I'm not leaving, you know, and stuff. And that's very funny to a degree, but it's also it shows how good the game was at capturing the like a good nerve-wracking ambiance, because you want to stay in the truck where you are safe, because when you're out of the truck you do not feel safe. And I feel like that's a big thing, is that lack of feeling safe. I think subtle jump scares are good. Like, I don't think it needs to always be in your face horror. I like little things, you know, like playing Visage. When the light bulbs popped above my head, they weren't really a jump scare, but it always really rocketed up my nervousness in the game, and I think that was a really fun aspect of it. Was, you know, like they could, you know, like little things like that where you suddenly are like, oh no, I'm in the dark, and that's scary inherently, you know, were really good. So I like subtle jump scares, and like I don't think it needs to all be in your face or anything. Yes. Hang on 1 second. Hello.
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 Hello. Me in here now.
Aegis, or not Aegis, Aegis here in the chat talking about horror, and now I have Bree to join me to talk about horror.
Hello. I have horror opinions deeply. Um, but yeah, no, I think subtle horror is definitely a really nice tool that can be used in really good and creepy ways. Um, and I feel like some subtle horror can be nice to, especially in the context of horror games, it can be nice to give horror some replayability. I know in the chat earlier I said that first playthroughs are really, really important for horror games, because that's when, you know, I feel like the most of the fear is going to come in, because it's unfamiliar and you don't really know what's going on.
I agree with this.
Um, but subtle horror can be nice little details uh, like say the ghost or the killers in the background of some shots, like watching you or clearly stalking you, but it's not really pointed out or had the attention drawn to it, so that can add lots of replayability factor if you know what to look for, because you can be like, oh wow, this really was happening the whole time, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I also agree with that, and I think that like it can really be showcased sometimes with. My goodness, why am I getting so many messages? Um, it can really be showcased with certain things, like I'll say specifically for horror, a a neat thing might be like you said, where it's something subtle, like the creature walking across the room, like in the background. Like we were watching a horror video not too long ago called Bad Bob or something like that, I think. And
yeah, that's right, sorry.
And the thing with that was that he was like in his house, and he had camcorders, and it was following the camcorders as they did stuff. Like he was checking the house to see how they worked or something like that, or like how working they were. And like when he was passing by a hallway, there was like a point where you saw what like a creature like walk by the like the window thing, like the doorway. He passed through the doorway between and disappeared. And if you went in there, there was nothing in there, but you know. it was a good use of the thing, because for a sec you're like, for you like you have like this little, oh shit, there's something right there for a second
Yeah.
before you go and look, and then there's nothing there. So it's like a nice little, like, thing to amp up the anxiety without necessarily being too overt about it. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is you just have to feel like you are, at least to some degree, helpless in the situation. And that's what really
Right.
can make a horror game feel good, is, or feel like horror, is the idea that whatever is happening, you do not have much control over. And I feel like that's something a lot of people miss, and then they end up with, like, you feeling like you just have to defeat these enemies, and then it becomes less about horror and about being scared in the situation, and more about just beat them up until they're dead, and then we can keep moving into the next level, and then it's not,
Yeah.
it's no longer about, the horror of it so much as it's about the, just survival, which is more of like an action-y adventure kind of game.
Yeah, like I know you were talking about Resident Evil earlier. Like Resident Evil, like I love the Resident Evil games. I think they're super fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for most of the titles in this series, it is a lot like that, where it's kind of just like shoot everything. And like, while yes, I feel like a big part of horror is also the story and can be the ideas presented being horrifying. And Resident Evil is kind of like that. Like they're, experimenting on people and making these monsters, and it's terrible. But Resident Evil is so not focused on that so much as you're basically army man, go shoot the zombies and take down evil corporation.
I'm gonna keep going because I think it was at like 7 minutes by the time I finally had something down. So continue talking. Sorry.
No, you're fine. But another thing for the subtle horror, um, I know, uh, uh, The Last of Us is not really horror to me. Like it feels like it's like Resident Evil in my brain. Like obviously less, it's in a different degree, but I feel like a really nice, kind of subtle, um, kind of subtle, kind of foreshadowing moment was when you're in that basement area and you see that new type of infected run past the doorway when you turn around. But if you're not paying attention, because I wasn't the first time, you'll absolutely miss it. You know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about?
100% no, because I was like, "Did you see that?" And then you didn't, and then I kept trying to reload so it would happen, but it wasn't a pre-planned event. It was just what had happened at that second, so we couldn't get it to replay where you could see it.
Yeah, which I think that those were one of my favorite enemies in The Last of Us, which were the stalkers, because they were kind of like that, where like if you were looking for them, you could probably see them running from place to place, but if you were not paying attention, you would not see them until they were attacking you.
Yeah, and then it was too late to do much about them sometimes, and it was like, ah.
Yeah, which is in itself very scary, and if you were in a more helpless situation, that would be terrifying.
Yeah, like if you had to just run from them. And I do like that The Last of Us had moments where it was like, the only thing you can do here is run. And I thought that was interesting. But yeah, there's so many, like, there's a lot of moments in the game where it's not just, you know.
Yeah, like it's got more it's got more helplessness than Resident Evil. So The Last of Us feels a little bit more horror than some of the Resident Evil games. Um, I don't know if it's The Last of Us is in a weird place in my brain, right? Because I feel like the main thing about The Last of Us is yes, these infected creatures are the problem, but The Last of Us feels so much more like humans are the problem.
I agree with that.
Which is scary and can be scary, but it's not quite as horror in my brain, I feel.
I think that's understandable.
I have a lot of complicated feelings about Poppy Playtime. Tristan and I have talked about it a little bit before, like that mascot horror, you know?
Yeah.
Poppy Playtime was. I I enjoy Huggy Wuggy. I like Huggy Wuggy's design. Um, but I really, really hated Poppy Playtime when it first came out. Um, if you don't know, I'm a huge Bendy and the Ink Machine fan. It's been my one of like my favorite game for years. Um, and then Poppy Playtime, the first chapter came out, and it was set up like if you know Bendy and the Ink Machine, and then you played the first chapter of Poppy Playtime, it's a lot like Bendy and the Ink Machine. I'm not going to say that they were blatantly copying the story, but there were so many similarities that it felt like it would be very hard to believe that it was a coincidence, you know? Um, and Poppy Playtime, like uh, Poppy Playtime in my brain is one of the epitomes of mascot horror, and why mascot horror is a term I use very. I don't use it loosely because mascot horror to me is like a negative term almost.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, because I know I was telling you, Tristan, Poppy Playtime, the first chapter came out, and then they immediately started marketing toys and apparel, and then they did NFTs, and they were like, we're making a movie. So it definitely felt like a mascot horror kind of marketable cash grab.
Yeah, that was my big issue with a lot of mascot horror. Isn't like necessarily that the horror itself is bad. Like it could be very good, but so much of it is literally marketed towards getting kids into horror, which can already be very bad for them developmentally. But it's also marketing it towards getting like kids into horror who, like I said, are very young, but also like getting their money because their parents are
Yeah.
probably not going to be paying the most attention to whatever it might be. Like the parents might be just like, oh, my kid wants this Poppy Playtime thing, and that doesn't sound inherently like a bad thing. So then their kids might get exposed to that stuff, which it's not a terrible thing for kids to be into horror, but the thing is that those games are being marketed towards a younger audience specifically, and it feels very predatory. And that's my big problem with like that kind of stuff. Is that the predation on children? It kind of like, putting the mascots on cereal boxes to get kids to be like, I want this one. It has a funny bird on it or whatever.
Or little toys in the cereal boxes. I remember I used to love corn pops. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of corn pops cereal. But years
What?
and years.
No, corn pops. I've never heard of such a thing. Sorry,
Well,
continue.
I don't know. I feel like it's not one of the most popular cereals around.
That's fair.
But I remember, when I was so little, they were doing a thing for like one of the new Indiana Jones movies, where they had like special little Indiana Jones light up spoons in the boxes. And I remember I was like begging for this specific box of corn pops. Like, I need it. You don't understand. The corn pops were really good, in my opinion. They were simple and they were sweet, and I like sweets. I personally, you might think me weird for this, but I enjoy cereals as more of a dessert type thing. So I like the sweetness of cereals.
I think that's understandable. Oh, I like these eyes. They came out good. But yes, continue. But yeah, like, I'm kind of in the same boat as, like, like, I remember being marketed to as a kid to some degree, and I feel like kids, especially, like, neurodivergent kids, are very easy to kind of pull in with stuff, And I feel like it's kind of like loot boxes in like games and stuff, where it's very predatory on people who are very easily drawn in by those things and will spend a lot of money on it, and it can get very dangerous for people very fast. It's very predatory practice, and I feel like a lot of mascot horror, some of it is just happens to have a mascot, because I feel like it is complicated, because like there's the aspect of it that is just taking something that is supposed to be innocent and turning it into something horrifying is an interesting thing to do, but like when you put in this like aspect of but like it's like specifically the marketing to children about it specifically is when I start feeling weird about it. Like I feel like Five Nights at Freddy's and Five Nights at Freddy's and the other one that I can't think of the name of, Bendy and the Ink Machine. Yeah, like those two, I feel like are very much I feel like those two are more of, they were about a mascot thing, but they weren't necessarily prepared for the amount of attention they got for it. So I feel like those are kind of in a different ballpark, where they are kind of mascot horror, but they didn't necessarily aim for kids at the time of being created. Right. Whereas like some of these are like, we're making a character and immediately trying to do NFTs, or if not NFTs, something like, we're immediately trying to do NFTs, which I already don't like at all, but like they're trying to do NFTs, or they're specifically making toys because they're trying to market it towards kids. And it's like, this is a horror game. A horror game isn't only for adults, but like a horror game for people who, like, if you play a horror game too young, it can have a bad effect on you, basically. So, it's not ideal to do that. Like, it's not ideal to market towards kids, because that's just like you're targeting a group because you can make money off of them, but they're a group that really shouldn't be targeted,
Yeah.
Like, especially young kids, and then doing stuff with, like, the bright colors, and then the mascots, and then specifically being like, we're selling plushies and stuff, kind of, like, ends up with a lot of kids into horror, and while it's fine if they can, like, enjoy it, it's also kind of not ideal in some situations. Depends on how young it is, but, like, a 6-year-old should not be playing horror games. Their brain isn't properly, like, developed for that kind of thing.
Yeah, Phantom just said they're 4-year-old students, no Poppy Playtime characters.
Yeah, and that's upsetting to me, honestly, because you should not be playing Poppy Playtime at 4.
Yeah, because there's like a lot of blood and stuff in that game too,
Yeah, like, you should not be exposed to some of that stuff, not that young.
Yeah, like at some point you see like a character, and kind of spoilers for Poppy Playtime Chapter 2.
Oh, no! I'll be spoiled! No, okay, go keep going.
No, but like at the end of Chapter 2, you see one of the characters get caught in heavy machinery and get like crushed to death.
Yeah, like that's stuff that little kids should not be seeing.
Yeah. Like it's a hard situation, because it's like they're not really supposed to be seeing it, but with the nature of the internet as it is, how could you ever stop it,
Yeah.
Like even something like kids these days, they like Roblox a lot, and Roblox is interesting. I don't know much about it, but I know basically you can make tons of different games and stuff on Roblox. Like there's this really popular horror one called like Doors, so popular that they're making like U2s of the main monster guy, but it's like, even on something that could be as innocent as Roblox or something, it's like they still have access to it. So, and if you're not like how do you like make sure that they're, you know, what they're seeing is safe, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
it's engagement with horror. I mean, I think that's fair to a degree. Like, I
That's
don't
why it's
think,
complicated, but it's also like
yeah,
you can both say that kids should be able to be exposed to safe levels of horror, which I would say are like Disney movies where like Mufasa falls off the cliff, or something scary happens in a show or something. But like I feel like mascot horror is specifically, for one, it's very violent. For very young kids, it's not appropriate.
yeah,
And then also they are specifically making toys to attract those children to play those games so that they will make money off those children. And that's where I have a problem with it. I don't have a
yeah,
problem with kids playing horror. I just think they should be playing horror that's also at their like level of maturity, I guess. Like, they can be like, I remember playing Legend of Zelda, like the Ocarina of Time, and being scared to death of like the spiders, like the big, but they were like polygonal spiders, like they weren't even scary. But I remember seeing them and being scared of them as a kid, and like, so there was like a level of horror, but it wasn't even necessarily horror. The game, it was just horror,
yeah,
so like it was scary to my brain at that time. So I don't think they need to be looking for specifically horror games, or horror games that are as hard, like hitting as some of the horror games, to
yeah,
still have things that bring horror to them in a safe environment. The problem is that these games are not only extreme for what most of the kids who would be experiencing them are, they're also specifically marketing to bring those children into their game.
right, right. Like, I feel like that's the big thing about mascot horror specifically to me, is mascot horror is a negative term in my brain because it specifically is targeting children, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't mind kids playing horror again, because like I'm not one of those people who are like, video games turns children violent. I never
Right.
will be that person. But I do have a problem with like games specifically targeting kids to make money off of them.
Yeah, especially horror games where
Yeah.
you see a lot of blood, a lot of mutilation, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like, that's fine for people to enjoy, but like there is a level where it's kind of like, okay, this isn't for kids, but you are specifically aiming to try to get a children audience because you know that they're more like susceptible to advertising, basically.
Yeah. And you know, it's a hard thing because when I was growing up, my dad was kind of a horror movie buff. So when I was really little, I was watching things like Scream and Saw, even though I probably should not have been.
Hmm.
But I feel like the thing with horror is, like, you have to be careful because if you're like, the thing with like heavy mutilation and gore and stuff is, what's going to happen is either you're going to traumatize children or you're going to desensitize them to some very horrific things very early on, which,
Yeah. I mean, Marshy's talked about uh being on like Reddit way too young and getting or no, 4chan, which we all know what 4chan is like. So like they got
yeah,
exposed to a lot of stuff that, and they've talked about how fucked up it was. So like at the time you might think, oh, I'm such an adult, I'm getting exposed to this stuff, but like once you like getting exposed to that stuff can really desensitize you and really cause a lot of issues if you're not careful with what you're like. You got to be careful. There's moderation, and there's a reason that kids
right,
shouldn't be engaging with certain kinds of media so early. And the problem I have with these games is that they are marketed towards the kids, and then they also specifically are like they come across in this way that sometimes tricks parents into not realizing what they are until
right.
their kid is already into it and exposed to it to a degree that they can't really like circumvent exactly.
Yeah, like, your kid's like, oh, I like Poppy Playtime. And then you see like a normal Wuggy plush, and it's like, oh, okay, this is just like smiling blue stuffed thing, you know?
Yeah. It looks like a baby show when you first see it. It's when, you know.
Mhm. Um, yeah. Yeah, it's a weird situation for sure because it's so hard to say, what is good or not.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely like a thing that it's an interesting conversation, but it's hard to be like, like it's there's so much nuance to it. Like, the
Yeah.
idea that okay, this is what mascot horror is, but I don't think truly that some games fit into it, even though they are mascot horror, because mascot horror to me is more of, um, you know,
Like a
uh,
predatory thing.
like yeah, it is a little bit more predatory in its engagement and stuff. So like something could have a character who is, not a mascot, but as long as they're not trying to aim to get to kids and stuff, I don't have as much of an issue with it.
Yeah. Like I feel like that was a big thing with like Five Nights at Freddy's. Obviously it did end up attracting a lot of younger kids to it at the time, and there's tons and tons of merchandising for it now. But way back in like 2014 when it first came out, it was very clearly marketed as a horror game. It never tried to be like, oh, look at these cute characters. No, it was like very clearly, look at these animatronics.
Yeah.
This is a horror game, and they didn't like immediately jump to like, look at this very cute Freddy Fazbear plushie.
Mm-hmm. Overlay. We're going like a very dark. Maybe more of a purple.
I feel like it's weird too, though, because like with stuff like Makeship, like where it is a little bit easier for things to get merchandising made, but Makeship makes plushies. Like I feel like it's weird because if you're getting a Makeship plushie done, obviously Makeships are a little bit more expensive. They're more geared towards adult audiences, but somebody could potentially make the argument of, oh, there's this horror thing, and look at this like cute plushie. But the thing is, like, those plushies are probably marketed towards adults as more of a collector thing. Um, and like a lot of the times, you have to be big enough to be like you have to be a big enough media to be able to get a Makeship thing done.
Yeah.
Um, like I have um, there's a series I really like on YouTube called The Walton Files, which is like an analog horror thing, and I was super excited when they came out with a Bon, the bunny plush, which is like kind of the main antagonist, I guess. He's like, killer animatronic type deal again. Um, but I was super excited because obviously I like cute things and I love plushies, so I was super excited to get that.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, the plush, I mean, it has a cute little ribbon bow on it, but it still looks like a weird, not cute animatronic rabbit.
I think that makes sense. And then like I would say even like Scarlet Hollow has a cute little Wayne plush, but I wouldn't say I would argue that the Wayne plush isn't like but like it's not the same, even though it's got a
Yeah.
guy, just because like
Yeah, definitely. Like there's a difference between getting a special plushie that got crowdfunded on Makeship as opposed to Poppy Playtime, where they came out the gate with their Chapter 1, and then they immediately had like an online store. They were selling like shirts and stuff and making plushies almost immediately.
Yeah, exactly.
which is something is kind of funny because Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 got super popular on YouTube, as some mascot horror tends to do. But there's a YouTuber who I like to watch sometimes. His name is John Wolf, and he played Poppy Playtime Chapter 1, and he was barely like 20 minutes in, and he was looking around like the first little bit of the game, and he was like, no, they're absolutely going to start selling these things soon. You can tell by, the way that these things look,
Yeah.
Which was interesting because he was absolutely right.
Yeah. Also, you're so valid, Phantom, for being scared of Roger Rabbit. I mean, a guy melting in it definitely, it's inexplicable what children will find horror in. Because, I remember watching Coraline as a kid and not even batting an eye, even though that has a lot of creepy imagery. And then, but then, something like the spiders in Legend of Zelda would have me going, oh, I'm scared. So,
Yeah. I feel like if I'm watching something, it's hard, right? Because I feel like first of all, I feel like jump scares don't super count if you're thinking about what scares you. Because a jump scare can be startling, but not necessarily scary, right?
Right.
But I feel like one thing that kind of scares me, I won't say it scares me, but definitely creeps me out a little bit. More so than anything I've ever seen. Like I can handle gore, horror, stalkers, whatever. But analog horror, which is one of the reasons I love analog horror so much, is because it genuinely creeps me out.
That's understandable. I don't have a problem with the analog horror. I don't know how to explain. I don't really have a lot of stuff that really gets me.
Yeah.
I think I definitely do with some games where, like I said, I have to feel helpless pretty much.
Right.
But I'm definitely don't mind most things. It's just really Visage was a big one for me as a really good horror game, specifically because it was scary because you had to you felt so powerless, and
right.
The ghost could be coming back at any second. There wasn't anywhere to be that was safe. And then when the ghosts came, they chased you. And once I got used to being chased, it didn't scare me as much. But in the beginning, the anticipation of being chased was far more scary than anything else.
Right. And I feel like another thing about that kind of ties into that. I mean, what makes good horror, right? I think atmosphere is important. I think helplessness is very important. And anticipation, like you were saying, to me that kind of gives what's the right way to say it? Fear of the unknown. I think you anticipate being chased. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what you're gonna have to do or anything. Um, like you're definitely probably you're definitely probably gonna be way more scared if you have no idea what's going to happen and when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Which I guess kind of ties into that helplessness too a little bit.
Yeah. It's like if it gives you a certain degree of ability to get out of the situation too easily, then I feel like it's not that it can't allow you to get out of the situation at all, but if it allows it to be too easy to get out of the situation, then it doesn't really feel like horror anymore, so much as it starts falling into some of the other categories of things.
Right.
So I do think there's a certain dread that can be found in different kinds of mediums. So I'm not saying that it only can have this or it's not good, because thinking about there's certain games. Like we were watching that Shut-In game, and that game wasn't really, you were kind of helpless, but also so it was mostly about like random ways to die trying to get out of the house. It was very symbolic of something else, and I think that that can also be really interesting as a game, and it is more horror still, even if
Yeah, that game to me was horror, not so much in the sense that it was scary, but I feel like that game did a really good job of instilling a sense of anxiety in you about interacting with anything, you know?
I agree.
Like, because anything, even stuff that seems totally normal, could just kill you.
Yeah, like it was definitely felt like playing a game about being paranoid, or like dealing with anxieties and paranoia, where your brain goes, this is the worst case scenario, Kill Bill sirens go off, even though it's about very mundane things that probably wouldn't have that kind of issue in actuality.
Right. Yeah, um, like turning on your shower head, and it's all bugs, and then the bugs overwhelm you and consume your body.
Yeah, like that's definitely not something that's happening in real in a real
Yeah.
situation, but it's definitely one that, your brain might be like, what if I turn it on and there's bugs in the shower or something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like that's another aspect of horror. Like I was saying, kind of with Resident Evil earlier, a little bit. I think horror can also be found in the ideas that something represents, you know?
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite horror movies, not because it's scary, but I mean there are a few reasons I like it. There's a horror movie that I first watched when I was in high school. It's called Hush. It's about this woman who is deaf, living alone, and there's this guy trying to break into her house and kill her. Um, I like that movie, A, because, obviously I connect to characters who have issues with hearing, and especially in a horror setting, I feel like that's very interesting. Um, but I also liked it because the idea of having someone try to kill you, but you can't hear at all, like, so one of your sixth senses just doesn't work. And so, like, it's especially hard to tell where the person is and what they're doing because you can only see so much, and you're in the house and they're outside. So if they're not like directly near a window or a door, you have no idea where they're at. You don't know if they're in the house or what. So I think the ideas of stuff can be horror sometimes.
I agree with that full-heartedly. Like, sometimes the scariest part is like that kind of thing where it's like the idea of being in that situation is the horror instead, for sure.
Yeah.
I do agree Scarlet Hollow is really great because you don't have any control over the situations, really, and also you get to make these choices, but there's so much anxiety in the choices themselves, and they do such a great job with the atmosphere. Like, that dinner you have to have, I know that like, Brie was just like, for like a good 30 minutes after it, and it didn't need to have a jump scare. Even the jump scares aren't creepy, but like the atmosphere of the game is so good, and you don't know what's going to happen from your choices, that they are legitimately paralyzing sometimes, where you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to choose, because I know in the future this will be bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Silent 2.
That one too, probably.
I've only played the second game, and oh, what was the other one? I played that one, and I played like Book of Memories, which sucked infinitely. Um, so I played Book of Memories is like a Silent Hill PSP game. That like it's basically just like a little dungeon crawler type dealio where you just walk around looking for stuff, like going through this like generated level. Like it's like a top-down thing, and you fight some enemies, and you're like looking for something. It was not good.
Sounds like you have to play the real ones.
Shattered Memories? It might have been Shattered Memories. It was something Memories, like Book of Memories, Shattered Memories, something along those lines, yeah.
Alright, I think Phantom's thing is done. I think I overworked on it over time, but...
That's what it was. I always get PSP and PSV confused. I don't recommend looking into it, so... I need to, I started playing Silent Hill 3 once. I didn't get very far, though, for some reason. But I remember loving Silent Hill 2. Okay, then yeah, I must be thinking about Book of Memories, then.
I'm glad, because I struggled to get him started. I was like, how do foxes work again?
How do animal?
But I do like how it came out.
I think it's super cute.
Yay. Thank you for giving me $10 during Ghost Trick Phantom. Your revenge is posted thusly. I'm gonna send it to you now. Okay. Finds Phantom in the server. This is true. I feel that way about most animals. Alright, I'm still not posting anything in the server for my sake, so I'm sending it to you on the down low.
On the DL.
The DL, if you will.
A piece of art like it's a drug trade.
That's what I did. I shared that cat version of me with like you, Phantom, and Will, because you guys were the ones who were like engaging with the Ghost Trick stuff. So I was like, you guys are into it, so you guys get to see the larger sized version.
You're into it.
You've enabled me, so guess what? What did I do? Okay, I didn't do anything. Good.
I think that's one of the best parts of living with you, is because I could always just be like, show me your art.
You're like looking over my shoulder like, what are you doing?
No, I specifically try not to look at your screens or anything, just, you know, to preserve your privacy.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, like I don't want to be like a creep, so I'm always just like, what are you drawing? Can I see?
Yeah. This is understandable, honestly. I think I had I think I figured out, by the way, because I was like talking with Phantom yesterday, and Sal too. I was talking to Sal about what was it? Oh, we were talking about Alistair and Arya with Sal, and I was talking to Phantom about Ghost Trick, and I figured out what was getting to me so hard about the art stuff was that for so long I've been doing roleplay stuff where I've been RPing as a character, and then I'd be able to have really big, deep discussions with people about the motivations of the characters or the actions or what might happen next and stuff, that I got so used to having a certain level of engagement with everyone where I was talking to them in depth about stuff, that since I stopped doing roleplay because I had to, I've been really struggling because it's a lot harder to maintain conversations, because I will have a lot to say, but then I'll, like, say a whole bunch, and then someone will be kind of like, that's cool.
The face you made, I just need everybody to know it was perfect.
Yeah, like, I post art, and part of me, I think, wanted to get the responses that I got with, like, roleplay, which would be like, man, Arthur did that, let's talk about it, or oh, I'm wondering what he was thinking about in this situation, and then I could be like, well, I'm glad you asked, and then go into detail. And I think that's what I had really wanted when I, like, because I had removed roleplay from my stuff because I couldn't do it, I think that's what I was really searching for with my art, which is why I started posting a lot more and posting anything, is because I just wanted somebody to see something I was drawing and be like, let's open a dialogue about this, because I was missing it. And that's not anyone's fault, because I had to step away from role-playing, but I got so used to being constantly in a deeper discussion, which required a lot more back and forth, that going from that to, like, posting a piece of art and, you know, like, 3 people being like, he looks cool, and that being the only thing that was said about it, really was struggling, because it wasn't that that response didn't mean anything, it was just kind of like a polite, oh, it's nice kind of response, which isn't bad, but what I really want is what I'm missing from not doing roleplay anymore, which makes it complicated, because it's not fair to ask anyone to be like, open a dialogue every time I send you a piece of art. But I wanted something in depth, because I was so used to having that in depth with roleplay that my brain was like, not only is it not good enough because they don't want to have that discussion with you, even though it's not, you know, like, I'm not asking directly for it, so I'm not, like, you know, making it obvious, I guess, but also, like, expecting a dialogue to come out of art is weird, you know?
I guess that's fair. Like, I feel like a big thing is, like, roleplay is so collaborative, and, like, you kind of have an entire story to pull from.
Yeah.
But art is kind of a singular moment, a singular screen.
Yeah.
You know? Which I can see why that would definitely spawn different things.
Yeah, like, you know, it's, art isn't something where most people will go into it being like, let me ask all the questions, or let's talk about this. So it's not fair to expect to get that from art, but also it's like this, definitely the struggle in my brain of, I now realize at least part of the issue, besides self-worth getting tied to art and not seeing enough reaction, making my brain go, it's clearly bad, get rid of it, never look at it again. Besides, like, that, which is also an issue of itself, which is why I'm detangling that by removing my presence from the server in regards to art. The other aspect of it is that I think I just really, really missed those deep dialogues. And it does make sense that it's a lot easier with roleplay, because, like, both people have a vested interest in at least one of the characters participating, so that they have something to say in response. When I post an OC, they might just be like, he looks cool, because they don't know what to say. Like, I mean, I really liked when Flash was like, oh my gosh, I really like when when I posted Caleb, there wasn't a huge response, which I don't need, but, like, Flash said something specific, like, I really like his boots, and that made me happy, because it was, like, noticing a detail I had done, you know?
Yeah.
So I think, like, I think that the reason that hit harder than some of the other stuff is because it was, like, not just someone saying something to be nice, it was, like, you're distinctly pointing out something I like, and then you're distinctly or like you're distinctly pointing out something you like specifically, which means you kind of looked at it for at least a few seconds.
Right.
And then also like it's specifically like something where I could be like, thanks, blah 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 about the boots. Like it opened me up, like it was triggering my trap card. Like I Yu-Gi-Oh went, oh, you stepped on my my exposition.
You've activated my trap card.
You've activated my exposition info dump. Congratulations. So I think because like when I was talking to Phantom and Sal, I got to talk a lot about the stuff that I was super into, and I think that really helped because I felt really good that day, and I think it was just because I was able to talk about my theories for Ghost Trick, and Phantom couldn't say a lot in response because they can't spoil anything, but they were very supportive of me talking about my theory. And then, and then when I shared the cat, then Phantom had a lot of nice things to say about it, which were really sweet. Like, they told me about things they liked about it, and, and I was just like, Phantom, I love you. And beaming my love to you non-verbally across the cosmos. I hope you feel it. And then with Sal was asking a lot about Alistair and Arya, and just, like, asking questions. And it gave me the opportunity to answer those questions and be able to say, oh, this is what this is what's going on, and I got to give information that I don't get to give to anyone else because nobody else has really asked about anything. Like most of the time, like sometimes sometimes people will just be kind of like, I want to hear about your OCs, which is great. I'm glad they do, but when they say that, I kind of like lock up sometimes because I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. But when somebody asks you a question, then you're like, aha, I know how to answer that because I know everything. I just don't know how to talk about it unless I'm prompted.
Yeah, I definitely understand that struggle very.
I'm glad. Okay, I need to start drawing again. Do you know what you want? Or has talking about horror made you forget?
No, I have.
Oh no. Concern? Is this gonna be me drawing you with Lance?
Okay, no, listen, hear me out. I had 2 ideas.
Oh no.
That was my technically 3 ideas.
Okay.
That was kind of my secondary idea. I was gonna let you kind of pick between the 3.
Okay.
So the tertiary idea is kind of like me with Lance.
Okay.
The first and second ideas are either Caesar or Steph in the aftermath of drinking a Grimace milkshake.
I'm guessing 1 and 2 are both just which character it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
What does that say? Bryant's?
Yeah. Brie Lance. That's your ship. That's your ship name, okay?
Amazing.
Alright.
Kinda wish his name was Lanch so we could be a branch.
Alright. Well, I will admit, Grim Massacred.
I love that.
Alright. Well, I will actually take a moment, because I wanted to go in order, but yours is also going to be an hour. So,
yeah, that's fair.
Eej, if you're still here, which I think you said you came back,
Arise, Chicon.
Do you know what you want, so that I can start working on it? What are you laughing at? I have no idea. Plant Sonos? Oh, plant so cause branch. Okay, I understand.
Oh.
Each, why are you being weird? I don't know if I'd be able to do that in 12 minutes, I'll admit, but I could draw as much of that as I can in 12 minutes.
Well, I mean, you did say that, you know, it could just be a really shitty drawing.
That is true. It will probably be a shitty drawing in this case. Alright.
I'm sure it'll look good regardless, because it's your art.
Uh-huh, sure, Eej. Also, shut up.
Why don't you make me?
I can't.
Exactly.
You'll
'Cause
never
you'd have to-
stop.
You'd have to catch me first.
Alright, let's see. Alright, don't think I didn't notice you being weird, and then now you're just like, oh, changing the subject. I noticed, I'm just choosing not to comment further. Besides that comment I already made. Alright. Okay. Bode. Wide boy.
Bode.
Little hand.
Oh. Me looks at where the stream's at. Looks over at where you're actually at. There are no hands that exist in the stream yet.
That's understandable.
When you said bone, you would like just finish drawing Arthur's like little bit of his chest, so I was like, I don't know if that's really considered bone. He's a twig, but okay.
Little did you know, I was further.
Little did I know you were drawing the wider of the two.
Yes.
Like me, the rat looks so Kinda looks like a cherry. It's the newest Pokemon, Charat.
Alright. Sholdy. Come on out. There you go.
You just know he picked this damn thing up off the floor of his apartment and is like, hey, look at this!
They went to a pet store.
I go to a pet store, you have these at home, Arthur.
We have McDonald's at home.
Open a McDonald's rat bag and it's just rats.
popped the... No! Excuse me! Sal. Gonna put you in timeout.
Man. Kind of reminds me of like a few years ago when I was first making my like cosplay handle name. I was trying to think of something like really cute, right? Like something to do with like cherries or strawberries or bubbles or clouds or whatever. And I didn't know the phrase at the time, so I was spitballing with my brother and I was like, what about like cherry poppin'? That would be cute, right? And he looked at me and he was like, what? And I was like, cherry poppin', like cherries and bubbles. And he's like, do you know what that means? And I was like, no. He had to explain it to me. It was a time.
That's so funny. You poor soul.
I feel like everything, most things that I learned because I was saying something and I didn't know it had double meaning, and I was made. My eyes were forcefully opened, probably for my own good.
Yeah, that's understandable. I feel like that was my way with a lot of things as well, but I was more made fun of mercilessly by friends.
Oh dear.
Like, makes them bald. Sorry.
You get through the 12 minutes and just never give them hair.
That would be so sad.
It would be so funny. Bald with rat.
Here, each bald guys.
with rat.
With a rat! Alright.
It's a rat!
Alright, I got 12 minutes to start now. Alright, let's see. Because I'm down, because I've gone past the sketch pose. Adds hair immediately, just in case.
Clearly they had to shave themselves bald because the rat's nest was too bad. But I'm so funny. Oh my god, yes. I love the way I always love the way you start drawing Arthur's hair because he looks like a deeply balding man. Homer Simpson having hair ass.
You're so mean to me.
It's not mean, because it doesn't end up that way. It's just the way it looks at first.
You're valid, but also I'll throw you.
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh, fair enough. Good luck catching me first.
That's not hard.
Yes, it is.
You like to think that, wouldn't you?
I know that for a fact. Why?
Uh-huh.
True. I'm uncatchable.
Uh-huh.
I've never been caught before a day in my life. Sal knows where it's at.
You guys are so mean to me. I'm not surprised Sal's bullying me, though.
I've told you before that's kind of what he looks like when you first start drawing it.
I know.
Man, it was such a struggle to get through that sentence for my brain. I feel like you can tell I started, like, stumbling and almost dying in the middle of it.
I did. But I'm a kind soul who did not comment on such.
Heck you, I'll comment on it and call out myself.
Alright. We have...
I really like the way, like, his face shape at the bottom there.
Yeah. I need to make this rat more than a circle.
Cherry rat. So, Tristan, do you want to explain how Arthur's arm works?
I will throw you. I will... Sal, you can never be as big a bully as Bree is to me. If I make it like the fattest rat you've ever seen in your life. Round. He's like, what will be the least concerning for Mono? The chumbiest boy.
Oh my god, you know what you should do? You should draw the rat from Flushed Away.
No!
Why?
You know why.
I'm right. Coward.
You draw it.
You think I can draw? Sal!
But he's a cute rat now. I'm sorry, I put this light on this rat. He just looks like he's the most. Oh.
Looks like that claymation rat that's eating like the little chocolate disc thing. You know that GIF?
Probably.
I'm gonna see if I can find it and send it to you on Discord.
Alright.
Why am I in this server? Get me out of here.
God. You've changed Mono's hair like 3 times. And I'm trying to remember, because you're like, he had long hair, and then he reset, and then he had short hair, and then he had long hair again, and I'm like, frick, which one is it?
I sent you the GIF, Tristan. You have to look at it when you get the chance.
Okay. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just gonna give him long hair, I guess.
He knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, that GIF is so funny.
The usual kind doesn't help me. You've changed it. You had him at one point get a haircut so his hair was short, and then you drew him again and he had long hair, and then you had, when he got reset, you gave him long hair again, and then you had him get another cut and got it cut down again. So it was like, what is the truth? Boy, where is your hair at? Why do you keep changing it? Pick a style like the rest of us cartoon characters. It's never changed.
No, you know what? Maybe that's the thing. Maybe Mono's actually just bald and has wigs.
That could be.
I feel like it's the answer.
God, he looks like he looks like Vivi right now.
I was literally just thinking his hairstyle looks like a Vivi hairstyle.
Let me fix this back. Maybe that will help it. There we go. That's a Mono.
That's so funny. I had that idea for myself before too, you know, just shave my head, wear wigs.
I've also had that idea, because I like long hair and short hair. And I was like, this is the best of both worlds.
I really need to get in gear about saving up for a Rose Quartz cosplay, because I'd really love to have it for next year's con season.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, even if we, like, don't get around, like, because I doubt we'll get around to, like, trying to make the dress on our own, you know? So, like, my brain is, like, you know, you could get the one from Etsy and then, like, over time work on making a handmade one, you know?
Yeah. Like, you could probably get one that just works for now, and then, you know, like, get a better one, like one that's more, make one that's more your style, you know?
Yeah. Like, would it still be expensive? Yes, but in the grand scheme of everything in adulthood and money, it's not that crazy.
Yeah, and it's not like you're gonna buy it every year or anything either.
Oh god, no, yeah. I buy that thing and I'm upkeeping it forever. Or at least as, you know, for as long as you can upkeep a garment.
Yeah.
In my brain, I don't know why, but like the finger positions just make me think Mono's about to fucking death grip that rat. He's just about to grab that rat so fucking hard it makes a squeaky toy noise. Does the little eye pop thing. Like those stress toys. I love the way you did the front legs on that thing, though. That is so good.
Thank you.
It's so shape.
I wanted it to kind of be shape. Oh no.
It's fun. No, I got water on my sleep mask. Dang it. I am totally gonna need that soon.
Totally.
Totally. Don't you know, guys, I go to bed 9 o'clock on the dot every day. No exceptions. I don't think I sneezed. At least I don't recall sneezing. But a cup that had a little bit of melted ice water in it fell over and spilled just a little bit. So I was like, no.
You did go, ah! So that might have been what they got heard.
All no chew. That's how we roll in this neighborhood. Unless you're Tristan and then you're just like a squeaky toy kitten sneezing.
Sobs.
Hee hee hee. It's cute.
Bites you.
Bites you.
Give me a second, timer. Dismiss. That's it. I think I did pretty good for the amount of time I had.
I think so too. I think it definitely helps that you do the sketch pose before.
Yeah, like doing the sketch poses before I start the timer was what I had wanted to start doing, so I think that helped a lot.
It's fair.
That way you get 12 minutes, but I already kind of have an idea of what I'm doing. Give him a sweat drop because he's nervous. No, it looks dumb. Never mind. Maybe they're smaller. That's better.
Me waiting for the first set of sweat drops to appear on stream. Man, this delay is crazy.
Yeah.
You should hear the alarm Tristan has for like work. That song gets stuck in my head constantly for no good reason, and I kind of hate it, but it also is kind of a bop.
You're so valid. You're so valid. I'm waiting to see if it appears. How bad is this delay?
You're just now zooming in and doing a blushy on the red on stream.
Yes. I don't know why, I thought that was so funny. Sends myself hearts for this.
Ooh woo rat.
Ooh, the rat is so soft.
So soft, so shape.
There it goes. The delay on my phone is crazy.
I'm telling you, dog. Gotta close it and reopen it.
Does
For
that.
sure.
There we go. Takes the blushes off the rat because I just thought it would be funny.
Blush rat.
Mono and this rat have a Remy connection.
No, they have a Barry B. Benson connection.
A what now connection?
You know the B movie?
No!
You like jazz?
I'll destroy you. I'll end your whole career.
I don't have a career. I mean, I kinda do, but, you know, it's whatever.
There you go. Just a little extra. Little extra.
Little something, something.
I think I need to, like, shave, like, that little bit off the top. He was getting a little, unwieldy, like, arrested for hair too high, or something.
He's got, wait, which one are you talking about, Mono or Arthur?
Mono.
Fair. It's part pompadour now.
Arthur's hair is naturally spiky, but Mono's hair was like, I'm reaching for the ceiling!
Reach for the sky.
Alright.
Y'all like vaporwave music?
Dun 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 dun.
Dun.
No! I'm a fool!
What did you do?
I started singing. There you go. There you go to Eej.
Why is that a bad thing?
Because I'm on stream.
Fair enough, I reckon.
Bum 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 bum.
The only songs we can sing are your phone alarms. Do 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 do.
Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
I'm sure
Horrible.
Chad's gonna absolutely adore us for this. Truly.
Truly. Yeah. There you go. Now we got either Brance or Caesar or Steph being massacred. Alright. I can't.
I think that's so funny.
Alright.
Maybe I'll just send you extra money to do whichever one you don't do later.
Oh gosh.
You can't escape.
Oh. Taking a moment. Tablet!
Tablet leaving?
You stay where you are, you little shit. Let's see.
Wow. Surfing on stream. Wow.
You little rapscallion. Alright, don't care about that. Let's see. Forgets how everyone looks forever. Ugh.
Not sagely.
Josie, please, you warm little girl.
Is she leaving?
Yeah, she's crawling over my leg, being warm about it. Go! Leave! The way is open. I've opened it for you. Thank
Is
you.
the pillow in the way?
I lifted the pillow so it wouldn't be in the way. She just wasn't. She was choosing to just stand there and stare at
She
the
has
open
to
way.
think about it.
She was debating.
She has to make sure it's what she really wants.
Okay, I do have one question.
What's up?
So I could continue and do yours,
Okay.
or I could call it here because I've been working for a little bit. Because I don't want to start hitting too late. I could, but I would work on yours next time, or off screen, whichever you prefer. But
It's up to you.
it is getting late, and I still haven't eaten. So
Okay, yeah, no.
Sal inhales my breath. Inhales. Okay, I'm just gonna put one here just in case. If you are serious, I'm going to also do whatever it is, but also. But I will, But yeah, I'll probably cut down soon. If you put like $6 like you each did, I'll do yours and then I'll go off. But if you do like Bree did and you're like, here's $30, then I'll do it later.
I say this completely jokingly, and I need you to know before I make this joke, but like, all of my commissions always get pushed back.
You'll survive.
I guess.
You don't have to do it. You don't have to do nothing. You're a free man.
Free man. That's funny.
You can do it. That's fine. I do want to stop it. But I probably could work on whatever you sent me and do it in a stream, like tomorrow or something. We're gonna do streams on Saturday, but I don't think we have a game lined up. So
I would still be interested in doing like Devour or something.
Ooh,
whenever.
yeah. That's true.
That one sounds really fun.
Yeah. Sal, you do not have to send me money. You should just tell me what character you want, and I would do you the shittiest, quickest doodle right now. You want a Selena? Here, look. The worst Selena doodle. This is her realizing I'm drawing her. He's so scrunkled. The ugliest child I've ever drawn. She's like a sock puppet right now.
Yeah. Sock sale. Looks like Scooby-Doo in a wig.
No, don't say that.
I think it's just something about the way that the mouth was when it was just like the one line that kind of led into the chin a little bit, you know?
Oh yeah, that was definitely a Scooby-Doo looking motherfucker. that probably was a bad thing to say. That was definitely a look that was happening.
That was a Scooby-Doo looking silly guy.
That was a Scooby-Doo looking scamp.
I thought you were about to say skank.
Scooby-Doo looking scallywag.
Scooby-Doo looking rapscallion.
Her drawing her blades at me for drawing her like this. Red eyes, she's coming.
Now don't say that on stream.
She's coming for me!
Sal.
No! Don't you. I will destroy you. I will wreak the day you were born.
No, I haven't said anything bad. Only implications.
There you go. She's got her mystery skull shirt on. This is totally what she looks like, right? Oh god. She's not aligning. There you go. Her shoulders were in the wrong spot. There you go, Sal. See, I told you, I'd doodle anything for you anytime. I'll send it to you. There you go. What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
You were typing a lot and giggling.
I was replying to a message I got on Discord.
Uh-huh.
I was!
I
You can ask Peach.
Okay. I believe you. I'm just saying. I don't think what I had in mind can top this. You're right. You can't top Sawita. Anger eyes, girl. She will woo. You cannot stop her.
She has a wooed and will a woo again. You cannot stop this.
Yes.
Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Ba, da, ga, da. Your alarm, but it's Dog of Wisdom. Do you like my cover?
Sure.
Wow.
Adds braids to Sal.
Wow. So rude. So mean to me always. Can you guys even believe this?
Yes, this is me we're talking about. I'm mean forever.
No.
You know, this started out really horrible, and I'm not saying it's good, but it's definitely not as bad as it was.
Yeah. Still better than anything I can do.
Hush your mouth.
It does have a certain charm to it, though, even though it's still very funny.
Humorous, but decent is my ultimate power move.
Humorous yet decent.
Yay, Sal, thank you. I think you overcharged for this, actually. But I'll send it to you post haste.
I can't keep hearing distant voices that aren't really there.
It's very strange.
Yeah, like I could have sworn I just heard Sal speaking in real life, but like very distantly, and I was like, hello?
Selena haunting our stream. That was the thing I was having the other day. Remember when I was like, is Splat sounds like they're here somehow.
Yeah. No, I had that. I get that sometimes too with Splat.
It's so weird. Okay. Let me find Selena.
Showena.
You know, Sal, I will do that for you in the future. I will definitely do that for you in the future. For now, you get the shittiest. There you go. Alright.
You are, Sal. Have fun nesting. There's lots of pillows and blankets in there.
Alright, let's see. Sal. 6. Bree. 30 to be done in the near future. I did not realize that the stream would just be commissions. Just the commissions of ill repute.
I mean, you wanted to draw people's OCs, and that's what you did.
That's true. I did, in fact. I drew my OC, I drew Phantom's OC, and I drew Sal's OC and Aegis.
His OC.
Okay, well, I can't argue with that. Next time on Tristan Draw Stuff will be Breeze, Grim Massacre, or Lance will give me time to think of which one I'm gonna do. And then, after that, I'll start working on those OCs I put together. I'll just keep them in my drafts for now. But thank you guys for coming. I'm going to cut down now and eat food and stuff. Maybe tomorrow we'll do another stream and we're gonna play a horror game called Devour.
Oh, you actually want to play it?
I'm down with playing it. We can be weenies together. Yeah. So, that's something to look forward to if you want to. Since it's a 2-player horror game that me and Bree are gonna try together. And then Monday, I'll probably either draw again, or I'll finish Ghost Trick, because I'm trying to do that when Bree's working, so that way she doesn't have to, like, participate as much. So, but thank you guys for coming, it was fun, and I had a good time. Hopefully next time I'll get some more stuff done. But, thank you guys for being here, giving you all a smooch on the head.
I'm also smooching you all.
I will get food right now. Good night.
Good night, everybody.